Hello, how are you? Alright, so I haven't done this in a long time, so I think I'm going to do a 3 card spread for you, as well as cast my keys. In the style of bone throwing, I have used skeleton keys instead because, well, it just seems to work better for me personally. But, that's going to be another topic for another time, but either way, yeah, let's have at it. Alrighty. First one that we have is the Ace of Pentacles reversed. The thing is, when you're looking at your spirituality and also how everything has been, the thing you have to understand that the past is actually there for a reason and not to close the door on that, but to actually learn from it. That does not mean that we have to stay in that moment and that we have to relive it over and over, but actually sometimes you have to look at the whole picture and finally learn from this, because this is actually what taught you how to not be. The growth that we're actually going through at this point in time, it means so much more for yourself, because the thing is, it's not emotionally draining so much as it is trying to finally recover from that. On that level, we also have judgment. The thing about judgment that I really actually love is that it's not actually the judgment that we're putting on ourselves, and it's not even that literal. What you're looking at is a form of rejuvenation, that reflection, using that wisdom, and finally actually no longer perpetuating it, but to really actually understand the whole reason and why. That doesn't mean the bad things that happened for that a reason. The thing is, there's no actual grand design. That grand design is one that is actually a farce that we can tell ourselves, but it is also a form of honesty, and that truth finally coming out in the way that you're finally able to unearth those things that were buried. That is where we're finally not only dealing with that transition, but you're also seeing it as it truly is, in a way that you can finally handle the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is not always a bad card either. In this case, because this is a more generalized reading, it's also talking about dealing with that problem and really addressing that. The thing is, when you're looking at this, it's also hearts that it's piercing the heart. In this one, it's bears. In this one, you have to actually understand that when we're pulling those swords out, it's going to hurt. You're going to have to face that, and to read more deeply into it might be necessary. What you're doing is you're walking into the problem with knowing that you're finally dealing with that, and you have that courage. In this one, we have the lion wearing actual crown in this as well. Well, I mean, the other reason why I didn't describe the other ones so much is because they didn't necessarily need that deeper explanation. The Three of Swords does need more explanation, because I keep on seeing the bad reputation that it keeps on getting. But maybe it's actually not a bad thing to see that card. That when you're looking at it, especially with the judgment, which is a form of discernment right here. What we're looking at also with the Eight of Pentacles, did you really actually fail? Were there really losses in that area? The thing is, it's not necessarily that we can't talk about the tragedy that happens in our life too. It doesn't necessarily happen for a reason, but it could be another reason that's even bigger in this future, as sad as those things are. And the thing is, I'm not going to ever actually try to discount an experience. But what we have to understand is all of these experiences in which we survive, it's not what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It does slowly kill us. It gives us unhealthy coping mechanisms. It does do all of those things. But it also, when you have that sense of survival, when you're accomplishing other things, when you're having a sense of revelation, what you're also understanding is you can finally deal with it and no longer actually keep the hunk of metal in your heart. You're finally actually understanding and acknowledging it. You're healing from it at that point. So I look at this as maybe actually a positive. When we see something like this that's more positive for us, I think this is a really good time for growth and healing with actual clarity that that's exactly what you're doing. You're not expecting the problem just to go away. You're finally actually understanding what it can really do. One more clarification card. The High Priestess, the Dandelion card. One thing I do understand about this card particularly that I really like is that it does work through all of us in this case. In this one, you actually see the spirit Dandelion that actually travels through all of us at this point, a major form of consciousness. And the thing, it's not necessarily a demon or a dark presence at all, but more of actually a sense of an awareness. So with it being the High Priestess, you have to understand that that power it comes from all of us. The as above, so below type of thing, the balance, all of it. The thing is, what you're understanding is that you're connected to all of those other people around you. So when you have that type of connection with other people around you, you know to actually guard your energy. When you're dealing with the other cards that I had just mentioned, the Eight of Pentacles reversed, the Judgment card, the Three of Swords, and now we also have the High Priestess. That is one where all of that energy has to go somewhere so you're not perpetuating the same thing over and over or reliving the problem over and over. You're getting yourself out of the loop. That's what a form of awakening is. It's not always going to be some in-your-face or government conspiracy theory or anything like that. It's more about just a sense of an awareness of yourself to get yourself out of what would seem like assimilation in a way. But really, it's just a repetitive motion that we all walk through. And the thing is, we have to sometimes stop walking, feel the emotion, pull out the sword, and accept the power. Whether it's good or bad, it's all things. And the thing is, you have a choice. So when you have a choice like that, you can find that balance. And that's what I'm really more talking about. Now, let's do one last thing with my skeleton keys. Okay. I know you can't really see, but I will describe it. These two ones that are overlapping, talking about being at that crossroads, but also no longer being conflicted because the keys are also facing outward. The one thing about them going outward from each other while they're crossing is that that is actually a door opening. When that door opens, that's actually just your possibilities of your spiritual self, but also intertwining with this one. The thing is also that you're seeing with other people as well on these two that are separated. That confliction finally ends. And when that confliction finally ends, you understand that everybody else is actually going to be on their own page, but in a new sense of respect and awareness. There's always going to be something to block that path, but the thing is, everybody else is also walking away as well, just in their own way. I'm using the pendulum to kind of ground myself as I'm looking at all of them, so just to keep myself from getting distracted, because each one that's laying is so symmetrical that you can finally see actually the process, the pieces of us that are actually broken up. And the thing is, when we're broken up into pieces like this, it's going to take a lot more to get you to all feel whole again. The thing is, you're not supposed to actually all put yourselves together. There's parts of you that are supposed to remain broken. So therefore it can actually end up reflecting off into something else, someone else. So therefore that energy transforms, so you were transformed. So all of these things where we're supposedly healing and understanding that darkness, that's really where you're starting to see that light within yourself. Thing is, it was always up to you. You was always us in the beginning to the end. But looking at everything now, for everything that happened with the last few retrogrades, it is definitely going to cause a lot more of that, well, split decisions, but also more unity if you're actually really looking at it. Because when you look at it and you scatter it this way, you finally actually see all of that stuff that didn't make sense and that was chaotic starting to finally make sense. These two actually pointing inward, toward each other, toward the major goal, toward all of that to put it back together. It is where you're finally putting yourself together and giving the inspiration to others to put themselves back together. That is what we do in a spiritual sense, but also It's what you can do as well, just in your everyday life. And I think that's good enough.